Hey everyone!
Hola a todos.
This is Jahaira.
And this is Stephanie, and welcome to Cuento Crimen podcast.
Y aquí on the Cuento Crimen podcast, we are a true crime podcast and we bring a new case every Wednesday.
Cada miércoles.
And these are cases that don't get much media attention, so chances are you haven't heard of some of these cases.
And we cover these cases in Spanglish.
Así que agarra a tu abuelita, tu abuelito, tu mamá, tu papá, a quien tú gustes, and come join us every Wednesday for a new true crime case.
Miguel Montanez was 46 years old and originally from Mexico and was living in Dallas, Texas. He is described as someone who kept to himself, someone who just got the job done, like be there for what he was meant to be there for and like go on with his day.
He had strong work ethics. Y Miguel spent most of his time in the Dallas area, and that's where he worked and lived and had his family as well.
So more background on him. He became a citizen in the year 1986. So he had been in the States for a long time.
Yeah.
His daughter shared that he had a second grade education, but had recently gotten his HVAC certification here in the States. And like that's air conditioning certificate related. I'm not too sure, but he was able to do that. And also something else that we learned from his family was that although that he only had a second grade education, he taught himself how to add, subtract, and multiply, only to be able to teach that to his children.
Dude, my heart. I feel like también este caso pegó más because, you know, we're also first generation. Like also my parents migrated from Mexico. So like they went through a very similar experience as us. Like my father also too went to just second grade. Entonces a escuchar eso, it's just, I will always have a soft spot, you know?
Yeah,
always.
A soft spot. And also this case here, we're talking about like, you know, we typically don't get many like true crime cases on men. And so like, I think this might be one of the first cases where we talk about a Mexican father.
I think, I don't think we've ever had.
And I think when we researched this case, like it really hit because Miguel is described as someone who, like the fact that he taught himself to teach his children that.
Yeah.
It hit, you know, like that soft spot, you know?
It reminded me of my mother-in-law también. Dice que ella no sabía leer, but se enseñó a leer español so she could at least read Spanish books to my partner and his brothers. And I was like,
see, it's like
so sweet. Yeah.
That dedication.
Yeah.
And you can definitely get that from like researching Miguel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. He was without a doubt devoted to his family. And in fact, he mainly raised two of his older children as his own.
He was the father figure to his stepchildren, and he was a great father figure porque one of the daughters, Esmeralda, dice que he was the closest person that she had. And so when he passed away, ella dice que lo perdió todo.
She was devastated. And I feel like eso enseña también mucho del corazón de Miguel. He stepped up, and he didn't step up just to step up. He stepped up because that's what his heart was calling. And también ella dice that her father, Miguel, devoted his life to his children and to his grandchildren as well. In total, he had 5 biological children and 2 stepdaughters that, like we mentioned, he also raised as his own. And he was the only father figure that, you know, they've ever known.
And his daughter, Gabriela, which we've been, you know, exchanging messages with her, ella dijo que ella nunca vio a su papá tomado, that he was just so devoted to his family and also being a single parent. So like as a single parent, you have to do a lot of time management. And, you know, he is like the head of the house and it's only him raising his children. So she just said that he never saw him, you know, get drunk and be like irresponsible. He was literally everything else. He was like responsible and hardworking and taking care of his children.
And like Steph and I are both Mexican. Y siento que algo que miramos mucho en nuestra cultura is how our fathers and their fathers, they have a lot of like generational trauma and there's a lot of machismo. And so alcoholism is a big thing in our community. And it's a big thing like within father figures. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not trying to be stereotypical either, but it's something that we do see a lot. And so I think that's why, you know, Gabriela mentioned this about her father. You know, like he was beyond that.
And also también like he was just so devoted to his children, like teaching them.
And this next comment breaks my heart. Miguel loved all his children and he adored his 5-year-old Michelle. She was his baby, his everything. And unfortunately, she doesn't remember him. And you get this full picture of who Miguel was, and it sounds like he was a great person, a wonderful dad. Y todos lo recuerdan, pero su hija no. You know, and I feel like that hurts.
That hurts.
And it's not the first time that I hear something like this, and it's just, I'm like, dang, like, you've helped all these other children, you know, but like life didn't allow you to help that one, you know? Pero ojalá que, you know, now I'm sure Michelle escucha historias de su papá, and hopefully she's able to find comfort and to kind of really understand her dad as who he was.
Miguel was described as a shy man, a shy person, that he, you know, didn't like to socialize much. He didn't like big gatherings, big parties. And like, he didn't even like taking pictures. Like that was, like he was just that kind of person.
I relate. Just kidding. Yeah, and like if he ever saw trouble or a fight breaking out, él casi nunca tomaba parte en eso. Like he definitely preferred to be chill, kind of like outside of the spotlight, and he would show up for what he had planned y nothing more. Like he did not like trouble, and I am with him on that. I did not like trouble either.
Miguel worked maintenance por casi 20 años at Far North Dallas apartment complex, a close community, and he was known by all the neighbors. I mean, it's 20 years, you know, son muchos años. And, you know, he must have seen los niños crecer to teens and even adults. And I think that's like a full circle moment. And like safe to say que although que él era una persona reservada, más callada, he was loved by everyone.
Like kind of, I don't want to compare, but me recuerda a mi papá because my dad has also been working también maintenance for like a bar / little motel. Everyone knows him.
Yeah, so, it's like it's your community, you know?
Yeah, it becomes your community. See, on November 18th, 2010, police get a call to a shooting at the apartment complex parking lot located at the 13500 block of Kit Lane near Central Expressway and LBJ Freeway.
Once authorities made it to the scene, encontraron a Miguel herido, and according to his family, he was shot around 9 a.m. that day y fue encontrado por resident living at the apartments. And ya eran las 9 de la mañana, so típicamente a esta hora, you know, like the majority of people have already left to work o ya se han ido a la escuela, so no hay tanta gente, right? And so I think there might have been, I don't know if there was a delay in someone finding him, but Miguel was transferred to Baylor University Medical Center at Dallas, and later he was pronounced dead.
At the scene and in the investigation, they had no leads. There were no witnesses. Como dijo Stephanie, eran como las 9 de la mañana, so a lot of people were not home. But according to their family, they took his phone and wallet, but didn't look at his truck. Y había unos rumores entre la comunidad, pero también igual, none of them really led to anything. Like these rumors were given to us by his family, and to clarify, they do not believe any of them because first, it did not align with Miguel's personality, and these rumors, again, like there was a lack of evidence, nunca llegó a nada más, no más puros rumores. And so yeah, at the end of the day, su familia de veras piensa que estos rumores eran, you know, just people in the community gossiping, and we live in society, like we know what it's like. I feel like people always try to find answers for the unknown.
And like it's kind of like just discussing, like we do it here on the podcast too, like our opinions, like, oh, we think this, we think that. So I think it's just honestly people just talking. But, you know, if there are rumors, you know, I do think it's worth looking into. So that's why we are including them here, because if anyone is listening and lived in that apartment complex, maybe this can jog your memory. Okay, so let's get into the rumors. Rumor number 1 was that he witnessed a crime, and that was the reason why he was gunned down.
And the second rumor was that he was stealing someone's AC since he had just gotten his HVAC certification, which is, again, like Steph was saying, an air conditioning certification.
And the third rumor was that he slept with someone's wife y que por eso fue la razón que alguien lo mató.
But again, like, La Familia de Miguel does not believe in any of these rumors, and we are just including them in the hopes that it helps someone speak out. You know, we kind of just talking about everything that's out there with Miguel's case.
Yeah. Investigators offered a $10,000 reward in hopes to bring leads, but unfortunately, nadie habló, no hubo información sobre este caso.
And honestly, the lack of leads is very frustrating. Like, cuando estábamos haciendo la investigación and, you know, reading up all these articles, we never once read anything about any cameras. And Sergeant Bruce McDonald said, and we quote, "These are the ones that you really hate to see and you really want them to be solved." I mean, this guy is a complete innocent. He was out there just working hard and was shot just while doing his job. End quote. And I 100% agree with that. Like, Miguel no se merecía eso. Miguel, you know, was about his business. He was a loving person, a hardworking man.
So focused on his family, you know? Obviously someone that just isn't looking for trouble or anything like that. It makes it so much more frustrating because, you know, he deserves justice. It was just one person, like, going about their life, going about their day, and then, like, something like this happens. Here's another quote. This one is de su hija Esmeralda, and I quote, "It's hard to have your routine without him. It's harder not knowing who did it. That would give us some kind of peace if we could figure out who did it and why. Mainly why," end quote.
And I feel like the why is always what gets people. Like, así como dicen, you know, que Miguel era inocente and, like, he really did not look for trouble. Pienso que eso es lo que duele más. Like, ¿por qué alguien le va a querer hacer daño?
Right? And, like, I think it's the why, like you're saying, because ¿por qué alguien pudo ser capaz de quitarle la vida a alguien and then just go about your life, right? And that why is, like, why would you do this to the most important person of my life, you know? Yeah. It's just that why.
I feel like sometimes people se les hace fácil las cosas. Like, the people on the other side, you know, who hurt people or take people's life, like, they really don't see the full power that they have. Power that they shouldn't have, to be honest. His daughter, Gabriela, who reached out to us, said that the investigator who was assigned this case was switched out 2 months after the crime. And her family was not notified of this.
And, like, we see this is a big issue that we talk about in a lot of these episodes, just like the miscommunication between investigators and the family. Like, there has to be improved because like, family is, like, waiting, right? Waiting for answers. And to not be notified about this, it's just a bad start to the investigation, you know? And, like, we clearly see it porque ahora, you know, after they were notified and they got a new investigator, like, the process didn't improve for them porque, like, what now we are in 2023 and now years and years have passed and they haven't gotten any updates. And she told us que la última vez que ella habló con un investigador sobre el caso was around 2013 or 2014. So it's been a long time. And
I feel like esto es también algo que escuchamos muchas de las veces, how the case is still open, pero there's really no one investigating. There's really no one actively keeping it alive or anything. And I feel like as a family member, that must really suck. You know, que tú quieres las respuestas, pero, like, how do you make the investigators, how do you make a whole system keep pushing? You know, Gabriela says that she, along with the rest of her family, like, they want closure, they want answers, they want to know who did this to their father, and they deserve to know who did this to their father. And so, yeah, we are super glad that Gabriela reached out to us and shared Miguel's story. I think, like we always say, social media can be very powerful. And in these cases, we prove our point, right? Like, si todos empezamos a hablar de Miguel, if we start sharing his story, his image, it has to add some type of pressure for them, like the investigators, to at least keep looking into it.
Yeah. Which is why we, you know, tell y'all to help us share this case, like, share the image, and this just applies some pressure and get investigators to take a look at this file again, you know? So we ask y'all to share, and if you have any information about this case, please contact the Dallas Police at 214-671-3661.
Si alguien tiene alguna información, por favor de llamar al Dallas Police al número 214-671-3661. And again, we want to give a big thank you to Gabriela for reaching out and being brave and sharing her dad's story. We are sending you and all of your family a big virtual hug. And just know that if you ever need anything, we are here.
Thank you so much for allowing us to tell your father's case, and to thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next week.